thanks for staying with us here on Worldview. Let's now bring in George Musamali, security expert, to just shed a few, put into perspective the security issue in light of the elections in Somalia. Morning, George.
Morning, Ben.
How would you rate, how have the elections gone so far, and as far as security is concerned? Al-Shabaab had vowed to disrupt the elections. How would you say it has gone so far?
I think the Al-Shabaab threat should be taken seriously. Remember, these elections were supposed to be held in August, and they have been postponed twice. And we've always been told by the transition government this was because of the security situation in Somalia right now. There's a complex mixture of issues that is making it difficult for the Somalis to hold a credible election as the situation is right now security-wise. I don't know whether we can call this an election or appointments, because an election is supposed to be a popular vote. But because of the security situation in Somalia, you find that now we're having delegates coming to Mogadishu and doing the elections. And in the recent past, I believe from 2014, when we had AMISOM in Somalia pushing Al-Shabaab from town to town, and we were seeing some kind of security improvement in Somalia. But 2015, in the middle of 2015, this stagnated. And right now what we're witnessing is that we are seeing a resurging Al-Shabaab. The withdrawal of the Ethiopian troops is not helping matters, because from the beginning of this year to now, they have withdrawn from 10 towns, and these towns are being taken over by Al-Shabaab without firing a shot. And as by yesterday, we were seeing even people that were in support of the government surrendering their arms to the Al-Shabaab for amnesty. I think the situation there is bad, and we cannot say that we are going to have a credible election in Somalia that will be accepted by all.
So far, there has been no reported incident by the Al-Shabaab, but what you're saying is that in reality, Al-Shabaab are taking over. So are they intimidating people? What is happening? Yeah,
the intimidation is there. And that's why I've said that you'll find that even people that were in support of the government and they were working for the government are surrendering their firearms to the Al-Shabaab. And if you look apart from a few areas that are like, for example, Puntland and Somaliland, where we have leaders that are in support of the transition government, most areas, mass land masses in Somalia are still under the control of Al-Shabaab. Let me talk about 80% of Somalia still under the control of Al-Shabaab. And it's making it difficult for people to go out and support this election. So basically, we are not seeing an election that is going to be acceptable. As much as we're talking about Al-Shabaab, there are other underlying factors that is making it difficult for the transitional government to work or the elections to take place. For example, there's this clan politics.
Yes.
You will find that we have Somalia is divided into clans. We have the bigger clans, for example, the Dawood, we have the Hiwaya, and these are the people that are making it difficult. Also, the complexity of the matter is also coming in due to business interests of some groups. And they will not want to have a steady or a stable government in Mogadishu that will make it difficult for them to carry out their illegal businesses. So I believe that much more needs to be done. Apart from the push from the UN, we need to make sure that we have a secure Somali, and then this election should be a popular vote.
Would you say the international community has done enough to give the Somali people a chance to have, a chance to elect a very credible set of leaders? How has the international community done?
The international community has not done enough, because remember, Somalia has been at war within itself from 1990. To date, we've not secured Somali. And this is why I'm even seeing AMISOM being a failed mission in Somalia. The withdrawal of the Ethiopians, you will find that we have constant attacks in Mogadishu, where we have the seat of the government. We have AMISOM troops deployed in Mogadishu, but still Al-Shabaab are successfully hitting back. So are we putting in place structures that will actually help pacify Somali, or we're just playing cat and mouse games with matters in Somali? This is why you'll find that even now we are talking about 14,000 people coming in and electing our government for the people of Somali. Do we call these elections, Ben? I don't think so. I think the international community has done that enough. We did not have a proper strategy for Somali, securing Somali. For example, if we look at AMISOM, we did not have an entry strategy and exit strategy. And that is why you'll find that Ethiopians are just withdrawing their troops without bearing in mind the repercussions of doing this.
What are the main reasons why AMISOM, you are saying it is a failed mission, or it's going to be a failed mission?
It's a failed mission because you'll find that when we kicked out Al-Shabaab from several towns, including Kismayo, they left tactically without fighting. And now they are still coming in also without firing a shot, meaning that we did not have proper strategy of getting in, holding ground, and handing over this ground to the transitional government. Did we prepare the transitional government to take over the areas that had been taken over by AMISOM? We did not, and that is why you'll find that there's frustration in the AMISOM troops, and that is why at some point Ethiopia felt like they have no business being in Somalia. They're withdrawing their troops. I think this is a policy issue that is supposed to have been handled by the African Union, and then having contributing countries not playing their own personal interest in Somalia, because I think Ethiopia went to Somalia for personal interest, and we can also say the same for Kenya. We did not go there with a clear intention of wanting to
emancipating Somalia.
Yeah, that is why you'll find that we were not accepted, and even at some point, the Somali parliament voted to have the Kenyans out of Somalia. And this is something that the Kenyan government should have taken seriously.
That's another question. Is that part of the problem?
That is part of the problem, because basically the Somali feel like the transitional government is imposed on them. We are also having another election, also being pushed by the Western world and the United Nations. This is also another thing that the Somali will feel like we are being imposed on a government. I think this is part of the problem, and that is why you'll find that Al-Shabaab are resurging every other day, and they're gaining more ground each and every passing day.
What do you say about Kenya's position into AMISOM? Even Kenyans themselves have been, the opinion has been divided on whether the Kenyan Defense Forces should stay in Somalia. What is our exit strategy? We should get out of Somalia to prevent or to keep away the Al-Shabaab. Does it work that way?
It doesn't work that way, because remember, we went there, as I've said earlier, for personal interests. Have we achieved this? We're still seeing Al-Shabaab crossing the border, coming and attacking Kenyans on their ground, on their soil, and yet we had said that we are creating a buffer zone between the Al-Shabaab, areas controlled by Al-Shabaab, and the Kenyan border. So I think right now we went in, and the question we've been asking the government, did we have an exit strategy? I think that is where the dilemma is. And I think it's high time the Kenyan government thought seriously about our presence in Somalia.
All right.
Is it helping the matters, or it's worsening the matters for us?
Security-wise, going into this election, have things really improved from since the civil war began in 1991 to the days of the warlords and the Islamic Courts Union? Al-Shabaab came in, transitional government, AMISOM. Has anything changed for Somalis?
I think nothing much has changed, because as you see, I've said much mass land is still under the arms of Al-Shabaab, and they're taking control of towns each and every other day. And as you see, we've postponed this election twice, reason being security threats. And as we stand right now, I think Somalia is not yet pacified, and much more needs to be done.
What does
the Somali themselves need to accept they have a problem and come with their own solutions.
Very quickly.
Not solutions that have been
What
imposed
does
by
Somalia need today going into this election?
Somalia needs a stable government, and how to achieve this is having the Somalis being in charge of their own affairs, especially in security matters.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Well,
George Musamali, security expert, just shedding some more light on the security issue surrounding in Somalia. Of course, during this time that the elections are ongoing, our team